welcome on stage Mr. Bill Bailey, Secondary School Principal.
Good morning, everyone. Valedictorian and salutatorian are two of my favorite academic awards because they're awarded to students who took academics seriously from day one when they entered high school. And this year's valedictorian never had a grade lower than 6. And he only had 4 of those. 2 in grade 9, 1 in grade 10, and 1 the first semester of grade 11. And then he finished out all with 7s. So I think it's fair to say that he took his academics very seriously. It's my honor to introduce this year's valedictorian, Seyan.
Hello, distinguished guests, teachers, parents, and the class of 2024. I would like to begin my speech today with a laundry list of thank yous to the people that are the reason today is possible. Thank you to the administrators who have upheld the child protection policy for our safety and have brought us how been. Thank you to the teachers who have helped me develop SMART goals for the future and have quite literally forced me to grow and develop as a writer, student, and individual at rates I did not think possible. Thank you to my parents who have been there every step of the way and have supported me, even though we've been separated by both land and sea. And of course, thank you to the friends who have been there with me for the past 5 years, pulling all-nighters. Staying up till 3 a.m. reviewing, or rather learning, abnormal psychology, and complaining about the paper 1 format, or struggling to 3D graph chemicals for a safety lab report for a few hours before the deadline are nowhere near the experiences I think anyone had expected for high school. But you all made it bearable, so for that, I cannot thank you all enough. However, as much pain and suffering as we can bond over as IB graduates, I would like to quickly rewind to an older time. A question that has almost surely affected our journey has always been, what do you want to be in the future? As a child, this was an extremely easy question to answer. Some wanted to be a doctor or an astronaut, whilst others hoped to become the Prime Minister. Me personally, I wanted nothing more than to go to the farthest reaches of the Saharan Desert and dig up dinosaur fossils. As a child, this question was always so easy to think about because the only limit was well and truly only your imagination. However, as we entered high school through Zoom back in 2020, this very question became stressful. Now, the future that had once seemed so far away had, in an instant, caught up to us and swept us away in all the worries we never could have imagined. Now, adults expected us to take into account our interests, skills, and life plans, which is a lot to throw onto a kid just trying to make it through IB biology. It instills us with this belief that everything we do, hope to do, and should be aimed towards an overarching goal, whether that be an end career or a college. It was this belief that persisted throughout the college application season. I deemed any skill or experience that I could not list in my resume or CV to be less important simply because it wouldn't help me become what I want to be in the future. Yet, as I sat at a cafe, brainstorming for weeks on end, just trying to figure out how I wanted to approach Princeton's "How has your lived experience shaped you?" essay, I realized that my favorite memories weren't the grades or internships that I had chased so eagerly. Rather, they were the seemingly unnecessary moments I shared with my friends as we shared in our joys and pain. When I think of Concordian, I think of the bench outside the art room, which I've essentially claimed to be my home after being kicked out of the quiet room. I think of the times we have played Game Kit and as a class have failed to reach 10 minutes for the floor is lava. I think of the 4 quarantines I spent with just Laudrell, struggling to wake up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning for classes. And of course, I also think about our Japan trip and how much Laudrell and I in particular enjoyed that week. I also think about our senior prank day and how much better we were than last year's cohort. Most of all, I think about the incredible people that I have had the privilege and opportunity of spending the past 5 years with. That truly made me feel that I was never away from home. It was with this reflection that I approached that Princeton essay, and although I was rejected, I am truly grateful for the introspection that it forced me to have. It is with this understanding that I hope to propose a new perspective to the question, what do you want to be in the future? And I propose that we reconsider it to be, who do you want to be in the future? Rather than worrying about picking between mechanical or electrical engineering or how I can secure the next internship at Lockheed Martin, this new question forces you to reconsider what kind of individual you've been brought up as and what kind of individual you aspire to become. Rather than being defined by our career or our achievements, this new question forces you to consider like the vibes that you give off, and like I argue that that is more important. It reminds you that who you are is not set in stone, and that who you are and what you value are choices and decisions we can actively make when choosing to mold our future. For instance, I remember the Genghis Khan court case we had in grade 10, mainly because it took 50 years off my life just trying to get M to memorize his lines. I remember Miss Lynch's English class because of Shrek News, and the times we were scared to death that we nearly broke the projector playing Silent Ball. While I do love literature, Miss Lee, I remember your classes for the times we sat in a circle having a conversation as you hammered Teacher 7 and Trepartees into our brain. It still feels like yesterday that I was in the 8th grade, watching the 2020 dunk contest with Meg and Kimmy, talking about Superloop for his new keyboard. Yesterday, when I began playing Poki MMO with Kyla and started to ruin my sleep schedule. Yesterday, when JJ brought Prosecco, not alcoholic of course, to school to celebrate our college acceptances. Yesterday, when I was stressed about how I would calculate my taxes for the math career project as a minimum wage worker with 2 children, and complaining about it on our Google Hangouts group chat that I cannot name for several reasons. Smoking man. My point for all of this is that I remember and cherish these moments for how the people I spend time with made me feel rather than the literal what that we did. That is why I implore every single one of you to ask yourself how and why you are doing what you do, and ask yourself if that is truly what you want for the future. Ask yourself if your actions reflect your motives, beliefs, and values. Ask yourself if you can be happy with the way that you will be remembered. As we go off into the future, we will continue to make decisions that seem to be the biggest one yet, the decision that will make or break everything, the decision that will shape our lives till the day that we die. It is at this crossroads that I hope you can remind yourself to once again consider who you want to be, rather than what you want to be. At our class reunion 20 years into the future, I do not want to be remembered as a valedictorian. Rather, I simply want to be remembered as myself, Seam, and for the time that I've had the honor of spending with all of you, which I truly value more than this accomplishment. Now, as our future awaits us, in the words of sports journalist Fabrizio Romano, here we go. Thank you.
Thank you for your words, Tian. Now, please welcome on stage Miss Min Lee, Secondary School Principal.